Hi guys, this is Cressey, and I've got a video that was a little bit too long for 30 days of arm care, but I think is very, very important. We're going to talk a little bit about scapulohumeral rhythm, so the interaction between your shoulder blade and your arm, and how it relates to a common arm care exercise that we see. So we're going to talk today about the full can exercise. Speaking honestly, I'm not a huge fan of full can. We don't really put it into our programs very often, just because I don't think it's a drill that we really have that replicates what happens during the throwing motion from a positional standpoint. That said, a lot of people do it, so if you are going to do it, we want to make sure you're doing it correctly. So one of the things that we know about the movement of your shoulder blade and your arm is that that first 30 degrees or so of arm movement to get your arm overhead doesn't require any scapular movement. So as Jason goes up overhead to throw a baseball, once he gets past about 30 degrees of arm movement, he's going to need about 1 degree of scapular upward rotation for every 2 degrees that his humerus goes up. So if Jason was just going to pretend like he was throwing a baseball, he takes his arm up, you'll notice that the scapula upwardly rotates to accommodate that positioning. Okay? One of the common cues that we'll see when guys go through scaption, full can, scapular plane lateral raise, whatever you want to say, is that they'll get cued to just pinch the shoulder blades back and down. Okay? So go ahead and show what that would look like. So we pinch back and down. What you realize is there isn't actually upward rotation that takes place. He even goes into a little bit of lumbar extension because he's turning on his lats as he pulls down. So we get adduction and we get scapular depression. All right? What we really should be getting here is just a subtle scapular posterior tilt. You'll see that Jason's actually a little bit anteriorly tilted at rest. So a good posterior tilt just puts that scap on the rib cage, and then what we notice is that inferior medial border of the scap starts to rotate around. So we'll have him just go one arm at a time. So drop that right one. And we're just going on his left side, which is his dominant shoulder. So when I teach this, if we are going to teach it, is we make sure we go one arm at a time, and I'll put my hand right on the inferior medial border of the scapula, and we'll get some posterior tilt, and we're making sure that that wraps right around. Okay, I want you to think about what's actually mechanically happening though when you do it incorrectly. When you pull the scap back that way, inherently the humerus is riding forward. So if we're trying to maintain good ball and socket congruency, you're gliding right forward into that anterior capsule, into that biceps tendon, the exact stuff we don't want when we're working with throwers. Instead, we want to maintain that good congruency, and wherever the arm goes, the scap goes with it. So make sure if you do these exercises that you're doing them correctly and not just lighting up the biceps tendon. Instead, we get some good posterior tilt, and really turn on that low trap and train good upward rotation.